I've been dealing with aging adults and caregiver support for years. I've yet to run into an aging adult that says, boy, Dave, I can't wait to get old enough to go into the nursing home. People want to age in their own home. That's where they want to be. When I looked at it, my dad's 87, my mom's 84. They're there by themselves, and I'm 5 states away. And so I had to answer the question, how do I gather enough information that I can use a tool to predict if I can first answer the question if they can be in their home alone, and with that one day comes challenges of aging. And so that is really, it was a personal situation that drove me crazy. If you intervene too early, you take away independence. If you intervene too late, you run the risk of fall. That's really what Albert's designed to do. ALBERTai is a platform where people can go and create a profile and get the first ever aging in place score for their loved one. And that score tells them how their loved one, their mother or their father or another aging adult in their family that they care about, can age in their home safely without support. It can predict when support is going to be needed.
Hello and welcome back to the Uprising Show. And I have a repeat guest here, Dave DuPlay. Hey, Dave, how are you?
Hey, Vivek, good to see you.
And Dave, I know last time we talked about your different venture, but today we are going to talk about your other company where you are founder, and something exciting has come out, and the company is Unity Global Care. So I'm gonna take up how this happened. So I received your text, I checked it out, and I was like, wow, this is great. And I saw some cool stuff there. We'll talk about that in the conversation. But, this is a big step forward now for your company, Unity Global Care. Earlier, it was, I think, more B2B offering. Now you're launching it direct to consumer product built around ALBERTai. So before we go anywhere else, just background. What exactly is ALBERTai? What does someone actually get when they use it, and what stage you are in terms of company-wise?
Yep, absolutely. Thanks for having me again. I enjoyed it so much the first time I had to come back and share what I'm working on in terms of ALBERTai at Unity Global Care. But in simplest terms, ALBERTai is a platform where people can go and create a profile and get the first ever aging in place score for their loved one. And that score tells them how their loved one, their mother or their father or another aging adult in their family that they care about, can age in their home safely without support. It can predict when support is going to be needed. It can predict what type of support is going to be needed, whether it's physical support, cognitive support, psychosocial support, nutritional support, or companionship and socialization support. And as the loved one goes through the journey of aging, how that support and the mix of support is going to change over time. And that, at its highest level, is what we have developed in ALBERTai.
What is the utility here for the, the person itself? Is there any features that useful to the people? Is it more voice-based, text-based? How exactly it work? Video-based? Can you talk to the person who is using in the home, how they interact or or how it is interacting with the person?
Yeah. So good question. So Albert is a platform, right? So, and I developed it because I had to answer the question about my own mother and father. Are they safe in their own home alone? Right. My father was in his 80s, my mother in her 80s, right? 4 children. One lives relatively close. The other 3 are all over the country, right? And there's mom and dad living in their home by themselves. So the question comes, are they safe? Can they do that? Right? Or do they need support? And what support do they need? So it's used by the family members, right? And it's used to gauge the physical, the cognitive, the nutritional, the psychosocial, and the isolation and loneliness components of their loved one, right? And so you enter in the data, it runs through our AI, right? It runs through uh, about 58 major categories with all kind of subcategories of data, generates over 8.7 trillion non-empty variables of that data to get the score. I've been dealing with age tech for years, and I've been dealing with aging adults and caregiver support for years. I've yet to run into an aging adult that says, "Boy, Dave, I can't wait to get old enough to go into the nursing home." Oh, people want to age in their own home. That's where they want to be. That's where their memories are. That's where they're most comfortable. And so when I looked at it, my dad's, 87, my mom's 84. They're there by themselves, right? And I'm 5 states away. And so had to answer the question, right? How do I gather enough information that I can use a tool to predict if I can first answer the question if they can be in their home alone, right, without support. And then when they need support, what does that look like? So that's what it does, right? It gives guidance, it gives predictability to what is going to come and what kind of support is going to be needed. And that helps the family member take that aging loved one through the journey of aging. And so, and then you add on the unfortunate situation that most families have: dementia, Alzheimer's, coronary artery disease, a fall and a broken hip, right? And all these, aging is not for sissies anyhow. Then you add on complications of chronic terminal or rare disease, and it exacerbates everything. So Albert's designed to help that family through that and understand that process and what to do. But it doesn't stop there. It doesn't just stop with giving you a score. It then tells you what you can do. The AI makes recommendations as a decision support tool on how you can improve components of that score, right? When is the right time to bring in home care? How much home care do we need? When is it time to call Meals on Wheels because mom and dad can no longer cook? They just can't, right? When is it time to bring in a landscaper because dad can't mow the lawn anymore, right? And then every day, I know one thing: tomorrow I'm going to be one day older than I am today, right? And with that one day comes challenges of aging. And so that is really, it was a personal situation that drove me crazy, that I didn't have those answers. It wasn't clear to me, right? If you intervene too early, you take away independence. If you intervene too late, you run the risk of a fall, right? When do you take the car keys away? Of them driving and having an accident and hurting themselves and somebody else. So that's really what Albert's designed to do. It me as the son, I create a profile. I go in and I answer a bunch of questions. If my dad wore a Fitbit, I compare the Fitbit up to that so I can get activity data. If my dad has Sensi AI, fall detection sensors in the home, great product. I can interface with Sensi and I can bring that into the analysis. I can bring in and upload medical records and lab results into Albert, right? So it's looking at 58 major categories with all kind of subcategories, running it through our AI, generating 8.7 trillion non-empty variables, spitting out a score, and then giving you the step-by-step roadmap of what to do to help mom and dad take their last breath in their home, which is ultimately what people want to do: age in place.
Wow. I think when I saw the website and I went and I saw the score, just that was a big hook for me. I was like, wow, just from like, it's giving me a clear score and recommendation based on that. And so there is so much I haven't seen any tech that assigns, it's almost like it's almost like showing me my, credit score and showing me how to improve it. Right.
Ex exactly. Vivek, you hit the nail on the head right there. It's exactly that, right? It doesn't only tell you, "Here's your score," but if it's low, it says, "Hey, here's what you need to do. Consolidate this debt, do this, do that," right? Then we built, on the back end of this, a marketplace called All Things Aging, where we vet and we have trusted partners. Right, and so, imagine me, I'm in New Jersey, my father and mother were aging in Green Bay, right? How do I know that the handyman I'm sending in is good, bad, or indifferent sitting in New Jersey? I don't know that, right? So my team and I are trying to vet these people and bring in good home care agencies that use tech and use innovation to provide the best care, right? And services and products that we look at and we say that you ought to consider this. We don't say you need to, we don't force it on you. We're a decision support tool. So we give you information, we package it up, we give you a roadmap. And the most thing that was really important to be honest with you, is it's for free, right? I want my vision, my heart wants every family in the world to have an aging in place score for their loved one. Free. I don't want somebody to say, "Oh, is this I can't afford to get that score." No, right? And I want to give them access to the marketplace, and I want to give them articles and roadmaps and things, discussion guides, like, how to talk to the grandchildren that Papa might not recognize who you are. Papa might have dementia, right? So how do you have that conversation with a young child that Papa that they love is not gonna recognize them maybe someday? So those are what we're trying to build around Albert AI, and that's why I'm so passionate about it, and working, I say it's the team. I'm just the eye candy. So, I mean, seriously, I got this world-class team of people, that's just incredible, incredible folks.
Yeah, I'm really more so after this little conversation right now excited about this, but I know the problem very well because I also worked in home care, and it's so we try to build an MSO model in home care, so I have very deep experience into doing that. It's very tough market anyway. You have so much emotions to deal with. But one thing you said, there's this very clear problem. Lot of aging population, they want to live with family, they want to live with dignity, and at the same times the caregivers, the families wants to get involved in helping them. Just how the world is, everybody gets busy and people are away, that's just not possible. So technology here using AI to build that, not only give the, the what's the state of it, but also guiding it how you can improve and serve better your families, your friends. It's just awesome. This is the great problem to solve. So kudos on that for doing that. And actually, I haven't heard any similar solutions in the market yet. Do you know any competitors of yours, directly, indirectly?
I don't. None that are taking the approach that we're taking. We're bringing together tech and we're bringing together non-tech. We're because we're building this marketplace, all things aging, right? And so, but the tech, the the Albert getting the data and then running it through its process, giving the score, but then saying, okay, it, then I as the user, right? Because the child, like me, for my mother and father, have the subscription, right? I'm the one that set it up, right? I'm the one that entered the data. But then I can go in and I can do, in our predictability side, I say, well, mom and dad have been married for 60 plus years. What is going to happen to dad's aging in place score when mom passes? If mom passes before dad, what's that going to do to my father's aging in place score? Right. And I can run that scenario and I can look at that. What happens if my dad falls and breaks a hip and is hospitalized? What's going to happen to my mother's still at home. My dad might have a hospital stay for a while going through a hip surgery. What's going to happen to not only his aging in place score, but hers as well? Right. And then how do I deal with that? And you made another very insightful point about, we call it, I guess, the sandwich generation, right? So I'm a little older, so my children are kind of grown and, out doing their thing. But a lot of families, right, find themselves managing the aging process of a mother, a father, a mother-in-law, a father-in-law. They have children, they have a spouse, they have jobs, right? And so they get overwhelmed. And then they just want answers to a simple question. Can mom and dad be in their home safe by themselves? And if not, what do I do? What's the prescription that's going to allow them to do that so I don't have to move mom or dad into somewhere where they just don't want to be?
And I think it's more. I think it's. I'm thinking like a marketeer here. I think it's more like a aging companion here you're building almost for families, right? And this is what it is. It's a companion that's with the people who need care, but also to help assist the caregivers, the families who's gonna make sure the care they need is get it. So this is almost, I feel like it's your companion, AI based companion that's there all the time to answer all questions, and you're gonna take it to the market. So that's the first word came to my mind just based on this discussion.
Yeah, you're totally right. And remember our last conversation, I was talking to you about Caroling 360 and a device, right, that we have that goes in the home of the aging adult. Well, as you recall in that conversation, every touch of that device screen, which is designed for aging adults who have zero technology literacy, allowing them to do cognitive activities, physical activities, video chats with their loved ones, all of that information that's harnessed in the CareLink 360 database comes over from an API into Albert. So now Albert can say, dad used to have video chats with the grandkids, maybe 20 a month, and now it's gone down to one or two. What's going on here? Right. And so why the drop off? Is dad experiencing isolation and loneliness? Do we see depression setting in? So we have to have these early warning signs. You said something that and I know this from our discussions personally, that you work with a lot of home care. You're in the home care space, right? When do you get the call for home care? When something has happened, right? Like, "Hey, my father's being discharged tomorrow. Can you get a caregiver over into the house because he's gonna need help for the next who knows," right? And so as a home care owner operator, you're scrambling, right? You like those cases, right? But imagine now with Albert, right? I get an aging in place score for my dad at 75, and I'm tracking him through the aging process, and the AI is mapping that journey. And now, if you're a power partner of mine, I can call you and say, "Hey, Vivek, I got 3 families in your area, and here's the situation. They have a loved one that's going to be needing home care, right? And so I'm gonna send them to you. I'm going to tell them that Vivek's agency is my power partner, and I know that if I recommend Vivek, he's gonna do a great job, right? And care for that person." We need to be proactive, not reactive in the aging journey and providing solutions and support and products and services and age appropriate tech, right? My father now at 89 cannot use a smartphone. He just can't, right? It just he can't do it. So, you know, our ability and Albert to recommend, hey, it's now time for a CareLink device, or hey, it's now time to take the driving keys away, or it's now time to begin discussions with a home care agency because if dad truly wants to age in his own home, he's going to need that support.
This is to create a product of such complexity are kind of becoming the almost like you are agnostic from the data source. You are becoming that engine who's going to suck in the data from wherever you can get devices, monitoring, health record. And that's a bit very powerful tech to build itself. And then once you have that data aggregated, then the magic of predictive or recommendations is so much this it's complex. I don't want to say that it's very easy to build, but it's very complex to build. So how are you going about building this? Like what's like the team, of course you mentioned, but it does have a lot of complexity to what you're trying to build or take it to next level. So I guess shed a little light. What's the thinking behind the scenes? How you're going about it? About the team who are involved? Give it a little shout out.
I got to tell you, I don't know if people feel sorry for me and want to help or what. I mean, I have been blessed to have the MIT Brain Lab, one of the co-founders, Dr. Newton Howard, help me. Matt Riccio from Columbia and NYU. I've had people from Georgetown University and Oxford University. So, it's the team. But I will say, before we ever took step one of building that, we said, how can we build? It's got to be safety first, right? Safety first. It's got to be HIPAA. It's got to be secure. It's got to be encrypted. It's got to be backed up, right? I mean, people are entrusting us with their most valuable data and sharing that with us, right? And so we started there and building around AI and building around mobile. It has been a pleasure to watch. And, we every time I get a new build or we're launching an app. So we have, I mean, you know very well, you've got your UI team and you've got your database team, and you got your AI team, and you got your security team. It's been quite a lift, but I've been blessed. I really have. And I just, in awe and amazement of the skills that, you know, the people that have decided to come on board and help is truly amazing.
Yeah. I know you mentioned this is for free for everyone, the consumer side. So as a consumer, I'm able to add as many people I'm taking care of their profiles, my dad, my mom, my mother-in-law, my father-in-law, or someone else. Is there a limit to that, or I can add under
No,
one anyone?
and anyone, as many as you want. And then let's say, like, I have three siblings. So let's say I'm the one that sets it all up. I can invite my two sisters and my brother to come in to mom and dad's profile, because let's say that my mom and dad go visit my brother. Well, and maybe they're there for an extended stay. Well, if my brother recognizes things like they're forgetting a lot, or wow, dad seems to be, shuffling his feet. He's not really, his experiencing mobility issues. I want my brother to be able to go into my dad's profile and indicate that, right, in real time. Now, you can type it in mobile, right? We have an iOS and an Android platform. If you want to choose, you can speak it, right? So you can go into the app and hit a little thing and say, yeah, hey, I recognize dad his left leg is dragging a little bit. Or you could say, gosh, dad didn't eat breakfast and he ate very little lunch, and he's not drinking a lot of fluids, and going to the bathroom a little more than normal, what I think, and so all of that can go in by voice. So we've really made it extremely easy. Now, there it does take a little time to create the profile, because we have to have enough information. You don't have to do it in all in one setting either. So you go in and you load a little bit and it's asking for some information. You don't have that readily available. You can log out and then come back and pick up where you left off. But the person setting it up for the first time has to go in, and it does require just a little bit of time so it can have enough information from these disparate buckets of data around to come in and give you a score. So, but yeah, to answer your question, you can have 2, 10, whatever you want. It's free, and you can invite as many people that you trust into that circle of care for your mother's profile, your father's profile, your aunt, your uncle, whomever.
Yeah. And just to bring this to our listeners very clearly, at the end of the day, NGO needs a sustainable business model. So how do you make money, and how do you make sure by making that money you keep it free for the other side? Is it on the marketplace size? You have the curated vendors that you're building, they pay for listings or that similar kind of arrangements? How does that work?
Correct, correct. Yep. And then let's say now we have access to data, right? So I mentioned safety first. So if we de-identify data, let's say a medical device company comes and they say we're building a new, I don't know, I'll make this up, a new type of walker, right? And we'd like to test it with people that are of this age, that have this kind of gait, that this I can search the database and I can make recommendations for enrollment in clinical studies. Or now it's up to that family. All I can do is make that family aware that there is an opportunity to participate in a study, right? And so I can monetize that because the device manufacturer needs to find people to test the device, especially if they're FDA approved or approved medical devices in some way. So that way, the marketplace, yes, listings, things like that. But for get the first initial aging in place score, there's no charge to the family for that.
Got it. And once somebody hires someone from the marketplace, let's say, is it managed through your application itself, everything like billing to them, or you have to then work with them separately? Just so we are clear.
You have to work with them. Yeah. Yeah. We turn that relationship over. And you can negotiate it whatever you need. Let's say you need grab bars installed in the bathrooms and hallways where most of the falls for the aging take place, right? So you would have to do that. We're not going to get in the middle of that relationship.
Okay. And especially for the technology partners, I'm assuming, especially the vetted ones, those will be on your marketplace. There will be still a way to connect through their data back to bringing it back to the profiles those users have it, or that's still something you're not yet part of the process, but hopefully in the future will happen.
No, it'll be ready to go. So we've built the APIs on our end. And so if I know Sensi has an API, Apple Health, right? So you can download, like I wear an Aura ring, I map that into Apple Health. You can map a Fitbit into Apple Health, right? So we've built all the APIs to link to this data. Epic medical record stuff. You can download your medical records. The patient owns those. And so, yeah, it's all we've really tried to streamline the process and make it easy, minimizing the amount of actual fingers on keyboards to enter data in.
Fantastic. And what is the market feedback from families or caregivers that kind of surprised you the most that you weren't expecting?
That I wasn't expecting. Probably, I didn't expect it to start to ramp so fast. I thought it might be, a little bit of a kind of a drip campaign kind of thing. But everybody I talked to, it's just been pretty well received. We haven't done full scale launch. That's coming in probably when people watch this show. This episode will be very, very close if we haven't already brought it to the marketplace. But the URL is goalbertai.com. And if you type in go Albert, G-O, albertai.com, you'll get to the platform where you can request admittance to it and you fill out a little bit about yourself. It comes to us, we approve it. You get an email back with a temporary password and you're off and running.
And we'll have those in the show notes too for everyone. You're all like you were already selling it to B2B sites. So what's the reaction on actual caregivers? Those, you know, how are they feeling about these devices? How this is helping them in their work? Are you hearing any feedback? Can you share that?
Yeah. So, well, on the B2B side, it's a different platform, right? It's not Go Albert AI is for the general population. These are people that want to get a score for their loved one. On the B2B side, we're working with home care agencies because when they come in, if you think about, sending somebody into the home to take care of mom or dad, a professional caregiver, right, from a home care agency. And so they're helping that loved one do things with their daily activities of living, right? Feeding themselves, bathing themselves, toileting themselves, mobility, right? And so the person, the caregiver, and the client relationship, the client is the aging adult in their home. The caregiver comes from the agency to come in. And so usually, unless there's something that really went wrong, and the home care agencies, they're sending a caregiver into the home, right? So that caregiver is the eyes and the ears of what's going on in that home during that visit. Well, those caregivers can use the Albert AI app, or if they have another app from an ERP system that they use to gather information on ADLs, activities of daily living, or if a nurse comes in and does a nursing visit, they can either use the Albert app to gather information or their other ERP app and then integrate that into Albert. So what it's doing is it's actually giving that home care agency a data-driven approach to care, right? Because all that data now including the caregiver visit data coming into Albert. So when the agency comes to the client and says, "Hey, Vivek, we've been in your mother's home, for now 6 months, 3 days a week, but let me show you some data coming from our platform that suggests we really need to be coming in 4 to 5 days a week now. And here's the proof. You can see that their cognitive ability has slowly declined. Her physical ability is somewhat impaired. And so, to recognize this early and increase the care visits by a day or two for home care, it's all data driven now. It's not the home care coming and saying to you, "Hey, Vivek, we've been coming in 3 days a week. We really need to be in 4 or 5 days a week." And you go, "Yeah, I'm from Missouri. Show me." Right? Where's the proof? Right? Well, now you come in with the reports from Albert and you say, look at the trend line, look at what's going on, and here's why we're making the recommendations we're making.
Wow, this data has so much. It is going to be so much invaluable in for different stakeholders. If I think through the whole ecosystem, how it works in home care specifically, right from providers to who are providing care to insurance who does reimbursements to understand that and make further decisions on how the care needs to happen in care delivery under their plans for the member. It's just are you already thinking in those directions to really what I'm looking at is this is you're creating, I don't know, lack of a better word, really a data system that has AI to it, and the technology makes it, the more data it's consuming, the better it gets and the better recommendation it's able to make. But it's also then starts building custom plans based on each person, where they are in what state. And then the more data that gets personalized, it becomes more and more towards what that you have a better picture and better prediction of it. So this helps a lot of things in the things, right? So this is a very powerful solution in many ways. So and I feel like home care in general is just a little behind on the tech side. Even the EHR, those are there, are really, really like kind of been there for many years in there. And I haven't seen new tech come in, especially in the home care world outside of monitoring side, more from something which is not EHR, but still a data control system somehow. And that can do a lot in predictive way, how you're explaining. So this makes me very excited because I know the word, but I want to get your take here.
Yeah, well, absolutely. So let's say you as a home care owner operator, Sensi AI comes to you and they say, "Hey, Vivek, here's a solution for fall detection sensors in the home." And you go, "Great. I love it." Okay. And so you install Sensi in the homes of your clients. Well, you've got that disparate data set of Sensi. Now let's say you're using WellSky app or ERP system. So you've got information in there. And let's say you have a remote patient monitoring system in the home that monitors blood pressure and heart rate, that your caregivers are taking blood pressure and heart rate when they come in. And you got that disparate set of data there. So now you bring this all into Albert. Now you're the owner. You come in the morning, the first thing you do is you log into your platform, Albert AI, and it's going to show you of 50 clients. I have 30 that are in the green. I have uh, 20 some that are in the yellow, and I have these 5 over here that are in the red. If I don't do anything else today, I have to focus on those 5. Why?
Okay.
Because if I don't, chances are they're going to be in the hospital tonight or tomorrow and my billing stops.
Yeah.
Right? If you're a home care, you when that client gets in the back of that ambulance or in the car from the family and they go to the emergency room and they're admitted, right? You cannot bill. You're done. And so now you're hoping that when they come home, you get that client back. Now, think about this. One of your referral sources for home care leads are discharge planners at hospitals, right? So now, what does the hospital CFO hate the most? Readmittance within a 30-day window of being discharged. Because why? If it's a Medicare or Medicaid, right, there's going to be a clawback. And their quality scores, their JCO scores and other quality scores are going to begin to go down. So now you go into the hospital and you sit with the discharge planners and you say, I have a tool, Albert, that gathers all this data and brings it in, and I can be proactive in care. I'm going to help you reduce hospital readmissions, saving your institution money.
Yeah. Yeah. I think one of the experiences running from home care side operations running is, as a business owner, let's say I'm not a clinical person, and then there is a clinical way of doing the work, right? There is this a call every day to discuss each client who's you're servicing, where they stand, status update. And it's very manual. People are in the field doing stuff, and it's very tedious and for everyone. If it can be systemized the way you're explaining, where the clinical in charge or clinical director can just go over and see, like, this is what it looks like right now. These many clients are green, these are yellow, these are this. This is so much clinical operationally much better, just so much better. You can be so much better planned. Right now the information doesn't even get, like how you're saying it, it's comes to the point when the client is already readmitted, then you know it, and then somebody's calling that has happened, right? So
Exactly.
we work backwards in home care, right? And typically, so and that's, and I feel like this is so much. It will give you signals, really, and those signals will be so much important in how you plan just your clinical operations in general, which is so, which is already a big win, because home care is not a high margin business itself, so it already creates that kind of advantage with not, which does not exist right now. So this is really good. Wow. Yeah. Talk to me a little bit about, when you look next 12 to 18 months out, what do you want Albert AI to look like in terms of usage or tech? Where is it headed? What's your vision next 12 to 18 months?
Yeah. Um, so I want global adoption. I want to help families. I want every family to have an aging in place score, right? Tech is going to evolve. AI is going to evolve. You think about, as we gather more data, we're going to move into this neural network sphere, right? And so Albert will be telling us things before we even have visibility to them. When we're in the neural network, it's we're going to make quantum leaps. So, and that is going to get us through there quickly through adoption of the platform. And that's why we've eliminated the barriers of price. Get a score, find the value, get your roadmap, be introduced to the marketplace, read the great quality information that our team has written in patient language, not in medical and hard to understand and pharmaceutical, right? I mean, it's It's a recipe on how to help navigate the aging journey in real folk speak, right? And that's what I want. I mean, our tech team is far, I mean, they're probably thinking 3 or 4 moves down the pike because they see new tech coming. Wearables, right? Wearables are gonna be big. We're gonna in the not too distant future, cell phones are gonna be obsolete. We're gonna be wearing glasses. We're gonna be communicating through eye movement, through glasses, right? We're gonna have at our fingertips this intelligence and the ability to harness data. Imagine having, some of the meta glasses on and being able to watch your father walk and move and eat and blink and listen to him talk and take the voice biomarkers and analyze all that, right? Just simply with a pair of glasses. That's where we're going, right? That's tech and AI. We've only, hit very little. We're only on the surface of where AI is going to go, predictive analytics, neural networks. And so we're in a super exciting time here, and just but I really hope people take a look at this and say, yeah, they can help me answer the burning question, can my mother live at home alone safely? And when she can't, what do we do to help her stay in her home, right? And that's what I really want. That's what gets me out of bed in the morning, and that's why I argue with my wife, "Well, why are you doing another startup this late in your life?" I say, "Well, Ray Kroc and Colonel Sanders, they weren't spring chickens, and look where look at what happened there." Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Yeah.
You can teach an old dog new tricks, I guess.
Yeah. Well said. Yeah. No, I think it is also the problem which is getting bigger by the day. We have an aging population. That's the
Oh,
reality, right? And we have a home care shortage, caregiver shortage. We haven't been able to solve this. This for unresolved problems still exist, right? And we see this. The only way to fill this gap is through how much technology can assist us, right? And it goes for both sides, running the clinical operation side, but also in running personal care, family care. That's very important, right? And so this is an opportunity. AI is kind of last this 2 to 5 years span has taken such a jump, and this has made it possible, right? Now it's on us, more people on us, people who listen to this show, it's on them to take this to the next level and use it to the wherever they can, right? Like in my life, I didn't think I'm a person who would use biomarkers and all that stuff. I was raised in India. When I was in high school, I was in boarding school. At that time I had to make a phone call. I need to write a snail mail to my parents that 3 weeks from now on Saturday I will be on this booth, give me a call at this time. That's how I used to talk. And now I talk to my parents so much more. They're still in India every day, right? So it's such a big difference in few years, right? So, and that is the point here is like, I think the technology that you're bringing to the market, this is just where the right moment is that as the world, as the country, we should take this opportunity to grab this and take it, because that's how we'll be able to fill those gaps. Those are there in the care. And that's where it is. It's going to assist both sides, clinical operation sides, going to assist the care side, family side, and that's what it is. So I'm really excited about all the things that you shared. And we will definitely have, in the show notes, people can find it on, the link to your website to create profiles and get the word out. And yeah, very excited about it. Thanks for taking the time and sharing where you at with this. And hopefully we'll get you back again in a few months when it's in more hands. That's the goal.
I'm ready. I'm always ready. Thank you so much, my friend. Thank you. I appreciate you and everything you do to, help shine the spotlight on things that improve the lives for patients and caregivers. So I appreciate your work.
Thank you. Thanks for coming. Take care.
Okay, bye bye.